cold at the touch, dead in the eyes, no signs of life no more. I put your love under the knife. Leave me to die here all alone. No signs of life no more, no. A crying dove may never fly. It's black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, oh. Oh, oh. It's black and white. Oh. Come on, baby. Love, no more, baby. Black and white. Come on, baby. Love, no more, baby. It's black and white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. White, white, white. Just let me go. It's only right. For all I know, it's only matter. It's calico. It's black and white. White, white, white. It's black and white. Yeah. Black and white. Oh, oh. Oh, oh. It's black and white. It's black and white.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Simracersworld TV, and welcome to the final race meeting in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship. My name is Chaz Draycott, and I'm delighted to say once again, alongside me is the wonderful Peter MacKay. Well, Peter, we've come to one of your very favourite circuits, mate. A great way to round out what's been a phenomenal third season.
Oh, well, you know me too well, Chaz. Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta is indeed one of my absolute favourites anywhere in the world, and it's a racetrack that's enjoyable in any type of car, from a Volkswagen Jetta to an LMP1 prototype. But in these Porsche Cup cars, we say it a lot, but what a tough combination for our drivers tonight. Of course, the Pro Class Championship is tied up to Jacob Toffs has his name on that trophy already, but in the AM class, Luke Holroyd is stepping between. He's just a tiny step away between true motor racing greatness. Well, I wouldn't really, as much as I love Road Atlanta, I don't know if it's a circuit I'd want to sort of seal up a championship at, because it can go wrong very, very quickly.
It can indeed. It's a real challenger circuit. A lot of undulation, a lot of big curbs and bumpy braking zones. The first sector alone is very, very challenging, especially in these cars. This is not the place where you think, oh yeah, this will be an easy ride tonight. It's so, so difficult. Luke is actually 5th fastest at the moment, going for pole position in qualifying. He does improve, but it's Paul Goffin that is currently fastest in the Martini liveried car. Estevez goes up to 5th, so he's now ahead of Holroyd. Very, very similar lap times between them as well. Incredibly close between club class once again. It's what we've come to expect so far from these guys, really. Now, in the standings themselves, in club, it is ridiculously close, isn't it? Because while Holroyd has got quite the gap, Danny Jones, Tom Slater, Sashdev Shepherd, all those guys are all very close together. This evening could turn on its head for any of those guys.
Indeed, and of course at Road Atlanta it can turn on its head. Particularly, one of the most dangerous parts is in fact lap 1 in the opening sector. When you go up through the blind turn 1, it's very, very narrow through there, and then up the hill to the S's, and you're going right over a blind crest. Do you know what turn 4 at Road Atlanta reminds me of, Chaz? Sorry, turn 3, I do apologise. Turn 3, it reminds me of Sheen Curve at Brands.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Going, where's the apex? Is it there? Oh, I'm on the grass.
Yeah, that's it. You know, you run up the hill, you can't quite see that. Oh, we've got a new livery tonight, by the way, for Gilles Gardner. There he is, showing off every angle of it as he ends up in the wall. It's the legendary Sunoco Porsche Audi combination livery. I forget the exact model of the car, but it's a wonderful looking thing.
1730.
Yes.
Now there is, and it is knowing as Gilles, as you know, is as much of a Porsche file as I am. And this was actually where Mark Donoghue did a lot of the development of the 91710, which was painted in the L&M cigarette brand. And the first time they tested a magnesium chassis, Mark crashed it at 200 miles an hour on the straight. Well, I say Mark crashed it, the bodywork came off.
Oh, heck. That's far from ideal. We've got Ryan Penny in a Porsche Centre Chester livery, by the way, with the green stripe down the car this week.
10 miles an hour on the straight away.
It is indeed. Loving the chrome as well, as he shows us that. Nice stuff there with the spec map applied to that. Certainly looks tasty. We've got another look at Gilles Gardner's livery, albeit very bad look. It looks like the bodywork's come off that as well, to be fair, but a nice effort on that. Jared Coleman, the claret and blue. He's coming to the final corner now. Getting the run out of that chicane is so important, and making sure the car doesn't float sideways over the hill is just as important, isn't it? It's a really tricky final sector, especially that last corner.
Well, that chicane, of course, was put in 1996 when Don Peno has bought the circuit and developed it ready for the first Petit Le Mans in 98. But one of the best ever race wins for Porsche was in 2015 when Nick Tandy and Patrick Pirley won the race outright. They beat all the IMSA prototypes, but it was so wet. And the 911 RSR, which was a proper 911 in those days, proper rear engine machine, but it was on an amazing Michelin wet tyre that had been brought over from the World Endurance Championship. And where it was most notable was coming out of that very corner, coming out of the slow chicane 10A, 10B. And Nick Tandy would just put the power down. You'd see the back end squat, and boosh, up the hill it went, like it had four-wheel drive, compared to the rest of the field who they're slipping and sliding around. So it was a great advert for Michelin tyres, but also for the virtues of a Porsche 911.
Yes, indeed. And it's amazing to beat one car in the class above, never mind all of them. Absolutely epic stuff. And to be fair, This circuit alone in the dry is a difficult challenge. In the wet, I can imagine it's nigh on impossible. But still, these guys, luckily, not having to worry about wet weather. We've got Spencer Ayres currently out at the moment. He needs to get this lap finished within a minute because the session will just tick over without him, and I don't think that he's going to do it. Because, oh, maybe, you know, he might just get this done here. He's got about 35 seconds left. I think he'll just cross the line in time here. We'll have to see. 30 seconds as of now. Because in heat racing, as they've got it set up here to be sort of heats so that it sorts out the grid and everything for them, the session just ticks over as soon as it hits 10 minutes. You don't get any sort of time to finish your lap and cool it down. So Spencer Ayres chomping in the bit now to get it sorted. Around the last couple of corners. Through he goes. And where will he go? It's going to be his only lap of the session. 21st place, 2.2 seconds off the top spot, and that will round out qualifying for the first race of the evening. 2 races from the club class to round out their championship, and then we will get on to the pro class. But it's Paul Goffin on pole position from João Estevez. Oliver Carwadine and Tom Slater make up row 2, with Danny Jones and Amrik Sashdev 5th and 6th. Luke Holroyd is 7th, with Andrew Shepard in 8th, ahead of Jared Coleman and Julian Noizet. Ryan Penny is 11th ahead of Ralph Meyer, with Gilles Gardner alongside Carl Hazelton on row 7. Then it's Heinz Meyer and Andrew Marston. Gregory Butterworth lines up alongside Michael Rowe. Then we have Mark Elvin and David Patching rounding out your top 20. Spencer Ayres is 21st ahead of Andrew Soper. Paul Stout and Peter Brill round out the field. So it's anybody's guess here, Peter. Plenty of good talent in this club class. We have so many unpredictable races from these guys. Who's your money on today?
Oh, that's a tough one. I get a feeling that Oliver Carwadine is he's due a win, I think.
Yeah, he was the one I was going to pick as well.
Oh, dear Paul, I'll go with Mr. Jameson Whiskey then, Tom Slater.
That's a good shout. Slater's been very quick all season. One of the top challengers to Luke Holroyd, who was on the brink of taking his title. I believe if he just scores similar points to the guys behind him, then basically he's got it wrapped up. We're just waiting for a few to take to the grid. Luke Holroyd, one of them, Ryan Penny, Gregory Butterworth, Spencer Ayres and Andrew Soper. None of them taking to the grid yet. Mark Phillips has said going into the last rounds, club class safety is being led by Danny Jones, but it's actually Angus Archer, but he can't win his own prize, which is to have a go in his race car. And the consistency is being led by Luke. So by the look of it, they'll be the winners of the AMS Porsche prize tonight. And in the pro, it's led by Jacob Tofts. Consistency is led by Jacob Tofts, and safety is led by Mark Baxter Jones. So we'll keep an eye on those as the money goes on.
I think that young Jacob will be very much appreciative of a little run out in Angus's AMS Porsche race car.
He will indeed. And we're underway for the first race of the night then. Looks like quite an even start from everybody near the front. Wonderful sound of all these flat sixes screaming their way down to turn 1. Carwadine looking down the inside of João Estevez. Nearly contact between the two of them. We look further back for any shenanigans. Looks like everybody's behaved themselves. Ayres, Soper, Penny and Butterworth all started from the pit lane in this one. But it's a good start for Paul Goffin. Nice and tidy from these guys. I think they know that there's not many chances now to sort their championships out, Peter.
Well, Paul Goffin has not been shaken nor stirred by his by the pressure of being on pole position. He's off like a shot here, and up towards turn 7, the most important corner here at Road Atlanta. You've got a good exit off to here and charge down the endless back straight, which actually has 2 kind of hidden corners on it, turn 8 and turn 9, but they're not really corners, it's just absolutely flat stick. Good start from Luke Holroyd, championship leader in 7th place where he started, and that's exactly what he needs to do, just take home the points and take home the spoils.
He does indeed. We've got Estevez down the inside now, winner of the very first race 2 in the club championship back at Laguna Seca, and Estevez round the outside of Goffin. gets his nose in front, but Goffin's got the inside line now. Carwadine and Slater are able to watch this. Danny Jones and Amrik Sachdev in there as well. They all stream through the final corner for the first time. There's a group of 8 of them here just moving away. Andrew Shepherd at the back of it. Then there's a gap back to Julien Noisy. Down the inside goes Estevez and up into the lead. Really clean move. Now what can Carwadine and Slater do? Carwadine just chops his nose off a little bit there as they go to turn 3. That's going to bottleneck them at the top of the hill. And this gap, and this gaggle I should say, could get even bigger here, Peter.
It's a long train, isn't it? 8 cars. This is like watching a Porsche Tag Heuer Esports Super Cup race, this big long train, but just with much better manners going on. We look at the nose cam of Andrew Shepherd there as well, and yeah, pick a winner out of this front lot. It looked like João Estevez had a lot more grip there, was easily able to tuck up the inside at turn 1, maybe a little bit more comfortable once the tyres are up to temp. Of course, with a standing start, the tyres start absolutely stone cold, and that is not what you want on that opening section. And it looks like Julien Noisé's had to give it an understatement, coming out of turn 7, looks like maybe looked it on the power.
Yeah, just a little spin there. Andrew Marston's had a few issues, and Ryan Penny has also had an off. This is what happened to Ryan. Oh, he's gone into the back of him. Oh, and he's been drilled there by Peter Brill. Peter Drill, more like.
Brill the Drill.
Yeah, indeed.
I don't think you like that nickname.
No, definitely not. It's almost like Sergeant Bash. Still one of the greatest nicknames I've ever heard. Carwadine then, he's got attacks from both sides here because he's attacking Paul Goffin and being attacked by Tom Slater. So he's in the completely undesirable position of being around 2 drivers that want to just get the better of you, whether that's defending or attacking. So my heart goes out to Oliver Carwadine right now because that cannot be an easy place to be. Tom Slater looking very feisty as ever though in the Jameson Mobile. He was very consistent early on in the season, wasn't he? And that's what bagged him the points, but he just got caught up in a few incidents here and there, and I think he didn't attend all of the rounds if I'm remembering correctly.
I think they maybe missed one. He could be right there. Yes. No, Tom's been fantastic. Of course, a new driver to the championship, and yeah, he's been up the sharp end of his club class all season long across a real variety of circuits. And yeah, with a few more races, few more seasons under his belt, he might well be progressing to the higher echelons of PCGB before too long.
Yeah, definitely. I imagine so. He's been very impressive this season. Like I say, one of the few people that have been able to challenge Luke Holroyd. We look at another one of them as well, Danny Jones. Danny's had some phenomenal performances this season to really climb back up the order in the feature races, which is where he tended to struggle in previous seasons. He always got involved in the odd incident here and there. Especially, for some reason, I remember him having a nightmare once at Alton Park. But he's really improved since then. His consistency has been fantastic, and he's constantly at the sharp end of the club class as well. He is now 5th behind Oliver Carwadine after Oliver has been overtaken by Tom Slater. Further back, we've got Andrew Soper and Peter Brill together. Now, I remember Peter being quite a bit quicker earlier on in the season, I'm afraid, but since then, he's sort of slipped down the order a little bit, I think. Either that or it's just a bit of progression from all the drivers around him.
Could be, yeah. Of course, there's a lot of drivers up and down the field who really are putting in a lot of time in the off times out with of the racing, and that really pays off. Now, we don't know if Peter's been doing that or not, but yeah, you could be right. It could just be there's been some really good improvements from a number of the drivers in the field, and yeah, even here in the club class, it is very, very competitive indeed. And well, should we say there's a few bruised egos in the pro class as well, who are left licking their wounds watching Jacob Toft disappear up the road all season long. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how we look heading into next season.
Yeah, definitely. I'd be intrigued to see if there are any promotions or even demotions as well to help some of the pro guys maybe be more competitive in the club class instead. This is Mark Elvin. Sorry, go on.
I'm in no position to know, Chaz, but how cool would it be if we got the brand new from next week Porsche 911 GT3R into this championship? I think that would be very cool.
Oh, we've got a car off in the background there, but yes, I completely agree. Whoa. Row your boat gently on the grass. Michael Rowe having a big moment there, comes back on. Julien Noisy goes past him. Paul Stout's gone off as well. Stout is about. See what's happened here. Just maybe a bit too hot into turn 3. Yep, just as he chucks the car to the right, it's almost like the downshift just sort of locked the rear end up there. We've seen it numerous times this season and through previous seasons as well. He's
not going to add to his wins tally after that.
It's certainly not. I'm really going to miss working with you, by the way, Peter, because it's going to be a while till we commentate again by the look of the schedules, but it's certainly been another joy this season, hasn't it?
I feel we get more outrageous as the races go on. The jokes get more and more silly as times get on, but we enjoy it.
Yes, we certainly love it. And of course, we get a lot of positive comments from the drivers as well. They all get involved in the banter. There's, of course, the pro drivers in the chat as well who also watch along. Amrik Sashdev really aggressive down the inside of Carwadine there. Carwadine's unfortunately floating backwards a little bit there. Maybe a bit of commentator's curse from the pair of us here. But he's got championship hopeful Luke Holroyd right behind. And he's just sort of holding station here. He's not pushing too hard or overdoing it. He's just doing what he needs to do at the moment and bringing home those points.
Yeah, he's like a Yorkshire Alain Prost. There's a thought. That'll give you nightmares. A Yorkshire Alain Prost. But yeah, doing what he needs to do. Luke's got a lot of pace under that car. Whether he's using all of it right now, don't know. He's probably driving well within himself. Get the car to the finish and clock those points, because remember, of course, he's still got the reverse grid race to negotiate, and he'll be starting, if he finishes where he is, he'll be starting reasonable distance into the pack, so that has all kinds of risks. So yeah, just making sure he gets those points on the board. But Paul Goffin, after a good start, just kind of dropping off the scent a little bit here.
Yeah, he had a big lock up there for a moment, and Ralph Myers just had a bit of a moment as well. He's lost a considerable amount of ground to Carl Hazelton, who's just gone past him, maybe just going a bit too hot into the chicane. But you're right on Paul Goffin, just not quite staying on the pace that he was on before, unfortunately. Danny Jones is just about in there. Apologies, I've been distracted for a moment. Because I'm using my 4G on my phone this evening, I've just had a message off Vodafone saying you're running low on data, so this could get expensive. Because
you send in the bill.
Yeah, we're at 5 megabytes a second there, and I've got 2.4 gig left.
Sounds bad.
That sounds bad. Carl Hazelton then, fighting with Ralph Meyer. I'm genuinely concerned about that because it's got to last me the month and I'm going to Italy on Friday. Now, Carl's just lost that position again to Ralph. Paul Goffin still in third, a bit further up. Carwadine down to fourth after Danny Jones has got through. David Patching and Peter Brill have been changing places a bit further down as well. Patching is starting to move further up. Julian Noise is right in the back of Paul Stout, so battles once again all over the place, Peter.
There are, yes, up and down the field, and after Julian's spin, getting back going again. Of course, Paul Stout had a similar issue, although neither driver hit another car or hit the wall, so cars should still be running fine, and certainly they look in good condition. Resplendent in with the very distinctive Wins colours, the purple, orange, and pink colours. I actually have Wins socks. Limited edition Wins socks. Of course, that livery was on the 4GT.
Yes.
One on the road in 2018 at Le Mans. Was later disqualified, but I do have the socks.
Yeah, I've seen. Where are they from? Is it Heel Tread?
Heel Tread, yes.
Yes. Yeah, yeah. I've seen a number of their socks, and they are absolutely amazing. I keep meaning to buy some pairs, but honestly,
I have more than I would like to admit.
Yes, I love it. But
what have I got on at the moment? Oh, I've got James Hunt ones on.
Oh yeah,
at the moment.
Oh, yeah. Are they the black with the yellow, red, and blue stripe?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Love that. I mean to get some pictures of somebody. When I went to Hay Fisher a few weeks ago, and they had some incredible Porsche 962 artwork on the wall, like numerous different pieces of all the different liveries. I've never seen the artwork before. I think some of them were originals, and they were absolutely glorious. And I meant to send you pictures at the time, but I think the other person I was with at the time took the pictures, and I forgot to ask for them. So I'll try and get them and show you them because they are unbelievable. Anyway, Julian Noise having a bit of a drifteroo out the chicane. He looked like he was going to the pits for a second there. He's actually still overtaken Paul Stout. He ran very wide there. Now what's the story? Stout closes back up on him, side by side down towards turn 1. Who's going to come out on top? They're both giving each other plenty of room, it has to be said. Great side by side stuff. Oh, lovely. Great racing between those pair.
What you're seeing there is two men that have probably had they felt the severe wrath of Bernie once, and they certainly don't want to feel it again. So they go, no, you first. No, after you. No. That should be enough distance there. Yep, you can fit a double-decker bus in there, but that's the distance. That's good. I wouldn't risk it.
No, no, that's it. The thing is, you've obviously both been stung before when you've had contact at certain points.
That new cane oil is just lethal.
Oh, Carwadine's overdone it into the chicane. Slows it down nicely, tries to avoid a slow-down penalty on the exit, but unfortunately loses positions in the process. That helps Luke Holroyd. Porsche Sport asking what your time slots are for the weekend, Peter, if you know them. Because I didn't know mine until about an hour before.
Well, for Nürburgring 24-hour tomorrow on RS1, Radio Le Mans, and on the international feed, it starts, I think it's 11:30, I should know that, shouldn't I? 20 past 11 tomorrow morning, UK time, and then there's night qualifying, I think it's 9 or 10 o'clock. As well, and then another morning session on Friday with the pole position shootout around 5 o'clock UK on Friday, and then the race starts at 2:30 UK time on Saturday, and I'll be on for the first couple of hours, and then sort of every other sort of 2 or 3 hours all the way to the finish.
Smashed it.
Very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. It's an incredible opportunity, and to work with the guys at Radio Le Mans as well. That's the dream team right there. So hats off to you, buddy, and we all hope it goes well. And we know that you will certainly enjoy yourself as well. Now, João Estevez is certainly not enjoying himself at the moment because he's having to hold off your pick for this race win, Tom Slater, who is all over the back of him in the Jameson Mobile. The Lisbon Project car just about holding on at the moment. Looks like he's changed that livery, actually, from earlier on in the season. I remember it had pictures of Lisbon all over the front of it before, which I particularly enjoyed, but Jameson doesn't really care for that, so Slater goes down the inside. I like how I'd pretended not to think his surname was Jameson then, as Slater now leads the race. But now Lisbon's got Haribo right behind him, and then we've got Paul Goffin just for a martini chaser.
Haribo and martini. I'll bet you in some hipster bar somewhere, probably in London. There's a martini and Haribo cocktail, probably. Yeah. Served to you by somebody in a check shirt with short sleeves and a beard, and in a bar with exposed brickwork, exposed pipework, uncomfortable chairs, and menus that are on a clipboard. Yeah, and those really horrible filament light bulbs that don't actually light anything up. Graffiti on the walls. Yeah, look like like an interrogation chamber. Yeah, exactly. And then you look at the price, and you don't even need the interrogation chamber because it gets there for a Scotsman like me. I was in London at the weekend, Chaz. A pint of beer, £6.10. Oh yeah, it's disgusting. £6.10. You're having a laugh. It's disgusting. Absolutely. When Beth lived there, I could not believe it how expensive it was every single time I went down to London. Honestly, we'd go out for a burger or something. Just get something on the walk that we're on, because we used to go on big walks around London. Just get a burger or something from, like a sort of street food burger. You're talking like 15 quid for two of you. It's unbelievable. That's nonsense. It is. Absolute nonsense. We had brunch, as you do in London, on the Sunday, and smoked salmon bagel at £7.50. I thought, right, okay. £7. I thought, okay, well, smoked salmon is expensive. It turned up, and bread was nice enough. It's quite small, but the amount of salmon on it, honestly, it was like a flake. I'm pretty sure the salmon's still alive. There was that little on it. The salmon didn't notice that it had lost any weight. What was that? Oh, yeah. Oh, flipping heck. And the guy at the side of the river going, that's £7. That'll do. That's enough. Off you go. Go on then. Salmon.
I know what you mean, though. I honestly know what you mean. The Yorkshire war cry.
The napkin weighed more, I think.
It was worth more. We've got Porsche Sport in the chat saying the Yorkshire war cry. How much? Absolutely love that. Absolutely love that. That's fantastic. And so true.
Stick with John Smith's proper drop from Tadcaster. Now here's a fun fact for you, Chaz. Do you know who used to be a technician at Tadcaster Brewery for John Smith's?
You?
No, that would be good. Carl Sharkey.
Oh no. Caravan Carl.
Proper drop, John Smith. It's a good pint.
Yeah, my dad likes John Smith. It's a proper bloke's drink, isn't it, John Smith?
It is.
Proper.
It's the opposite of Copperberg fruit cider.
Oh, here we go. Wow, I walked straight into that one, didn't I?
That was
Flippin' heck. Wow. I'll take a Haribo martini, please. Either way, I keep looking back at this battle for the lead because there's a great battle going on because João Esteves is like the bit that doesn't move in and Newton's cradle at the moment. Oh no, Goffin's off in. The Goff is off. Manages to stop it completely rotating. Nice safe rejoin, but unfortunately the pole set are having a very difficult time through that right-hander. It's a real nightmare, and now Andrew Shepherd is going to come flying by like a Paul Smith t-shirt on a clothesline that's fallen down. Down the straight he goes, up to 7th. But again, João Esteves keeps closing in on him. Oh, Julien Noisy and Michael Rowe have had a big coming together. Lots of damage there. That is a big...
Do you know what Julian's done there? He's handed out some justice. He's justice to Michael Rowe, saying, "How dare you promote another type of lubricant? Oh my, another type of lubricant other than Petro Canada lubricants, the official lubricant of the Porsche Club of Great Britain. That's what you get when you run a different lubricant." Oh,
they get more elaborate every week.
Justified.
I love it. Oh, I love it. But yes, indeed, you're correct. Unfortunately, maybe a bit of unnecessary contact there between the two of them. Now, let's have a look.
Not if you're not running Petro Canada lubricants.
I'm just trying to...
I wouldn't put anything else in my car.
Sorry about this. Due to my data issue, Mark is trying to come up with a workaround in the background, which I massively appreciate. Let's have a look. Sorry about this. You might have to just cover for me for a sec, Peter.
Yes, I will. Yeah. So Tom Slater leads then from João Esteves and Danny Jones. Now it looks like they're just going to... Whoa, big send there from Danny Jones up into second position. What a move. Brilliant. Nice and clean as well. And João was just about to turn in and just saw him in his mirror at the last moment. But they're just going to take the white flag now. So it's going to run a little bit into overtime. So Tom Slater leads quite convincingly. Can Danny Jones do anything about it?
Oh, he tries to cover the right-hand side. Manages to do it. It's very interesting, that first corner here at Road Atlanta, because you can take a wide line, but then there's about 3 lines up the hill, isn't there? You can hang over in the middle of it and then move over to the left. You can be over on the left all the way through, or if you've taken a really tight line early on the right-hand side, you then fade out to the middle. It's just a bit of everything as you go up the hill there into 3. But great stuff from Danny Jones. What a move. Is he going to be able to do anything about Tom Slater? Because the gap is only 4 tenths of a second here, Peter. He could definitely close that gap up with the slipstream here.
Well, let's see. Danny Jones made the move, of course, coming into the same corner last time around on João Esteves. But I think Tom Slater might just about have it. Remember, they're all on the same setup. It's a very draggy setup, though. But nope, looks like Tom Slater is going to lead into the braking zone here for turn 10A and B. Tricky corner to negotiate. It looks like he's got it nice and safe, and the checkered flag is now being raised.
Around the final corner then. Beautiful try for Tom Slater. Crosses the line and takes the win. Danny Jones fought hard to get there in the end. João Esteves picks up a podium. Sashdev is 4th. Holroyd is going to be 5th with Oliver Carwadine in 6th position. Shepherd finishes 7th with Paul Goffin just behind him. Pole sitter had a bit of a torrid time, but still in the top 10. Then it's Gilles Gardner in the 22 car, and Jared Coleman is going to round out your top 10. Carl Hazelton and Heinz Meyer just having a fight to the line. Carl Hazelton wins it between the two.
I tell you, it's good to see Carl out on track, because he actually messaged the group not long before the race, saying that he was caught in traffic. There'd been a big accident on the road. But tell you what, as you know, Chaz, if you're driving that Taycan thing, as soon as the sea parted, he just put his foot down and zoop, teleport home.
Yeah, indeed. Once it's pointing in a direction and you put your foot down, just disappears. Yeah, that's it. Hang on and check your double chin in the video afterwards, as I did. But it honestly forced my chin into my neck. But Tom Slater, though, he did the job there. Really, really nice drive. Started fourth on the grid, needed those points. But I'm pretty sure that with fifth place as well, Luke Holroyd has wrapped up the championship. That is an absolutely awesome job by Luke. And we know how consistent he's been all season. And now it's just a case of congratulating the champion as such. But we have our 10-minute warm-up session now. You may have to bear with me, everybody, because Mark and I are going to try and figure a workaround to this. I believe he's just starting his PC now. We want to try and get this as close as possible to a normal broadcast, obviously with Mark streaming the action. So we're going to try and get things sorted. Just in the meantime, Peter, do you mind going through the race results for me, mate?
Shall indeed. Yes, not a problem. So your winner then, Tom Slater. Who picked him for the win? Fantastic. Just over 0.2 of a second from Danny Jones. Great drive from the Brumos and Haribo driver, with João Esteves rounding out the podium. Good run in race one for João. Amrik Sashdev once again continues his rich vein of form, finishing fourth, and Luke Holroyd, steady Eddie himself, finishes in fifth and books some critical points for the championship chase. Ollie Carbadine was sixth, followed by Andrew Shepherd, Paul Goffin, Gilles Gardner and Jared Coleman rounding out your top 10. Carl Hazelton winning that last little dice up there with Heinz Meyer for 11th spot. Mark Elvin was 13th, followed by Spencer Ayres, Ralph Meyer, Paul Stout, Peter Brill and Gregory Butterworth rounding out the top 18. And last few drivers, David Patching and Andrew Marston rounding out the cars on the lead lap, with Julien Noiset, Andrew Soper, Michael Rowe and Ryan Penny finishing off the lead lap from our 24 cars this evening. Smashing. So with that, grid will be reversed, and that will put Ryan Penny on pole position, with Michael Rowe joining him on the front row of the grid. So that should make for an interesting first couple of laps here at Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Now, Chaz, do we have, while you guys are doing your tech thing, do we have time for story time?
Oh, yes. Oh, there is always time for story time with you, Peter.
Does that help you with your tech issues?
It does. Oh, that would be so much nicer than me trying to wing something to talk about. Mark is trying to work on it in the meantime, so yeah.
Well, it's this, of course, Road Atlanta is a circuit that is absolutely steeped in history. We mentioned Gilles Gardner's livery that he's running tonight, the Sunoco colours that were run by the Team Penske in 1973 with the Porsche 91730 Can-Am car, still regarded as one of the most fearsome cars ever made by Porsche, certainly one of the most powerful, even though it's nearly 50 years old now. Ran a flat 12 engine with 2 turbochargers and ran up to 1,200 horsepower from a car that weighed about 3/4 of a ton, which is just a astounding set of figures. But here at Road Atlanta, they did a lot of the development for those Porsche Can-Am cars that were so good they actually destroyed the series because no one else wanted to turn up and take them on. But it's always been a big part of the IMSA story here at Road Atlanta, big part of American sports car racing. And in fact, the circuit used to be owned by 2 brothers, Don and Bill Whittington, who were very prominent in the IMSA scene in the late 70s and early 80s with their very impressive Kramer Porsche 935. And they actually ended up buying the circuit. But the reason why they were so well-heeled was, they were into a slightly alternative type of enterprise. They were actually smuggling drugs. And that was what gave them the finances required to own Michelin Raceway Road Atlanta. Of course, it was just called Road Atlanta in those days. And, of course, here at Road Atlanta has a very, very long back straight. So the Whittington brothers are very keen pilots, so they did like to occasionally land their planes on the back straight, and actually would call in and have racing stopped to allow them to come in and land their planes on the back straight. And they would land on the back straight and then pull over to the right and into the pit lane. What a way to make an arrival! But the Whittington brothers needed to get rid of Road Atlanta in a bit of a hurry, and they sold it to another IMSA racer called Randy Lanier, who was also a drug dealer. In fact, one of the biggest or most prominent marijuana smugglers in history. And yeah, he was an owner of Road Atlanta for a while, but really Road Atlanta became the facility that it is today by Dr. Don Paynos when he bought it in 1996, and he had a vision to bring endurance racing to the fore in North America. And the Petit Le Mans was born in 1998 and won by one of my favorite cars of all time, the Ferrari 333 SP. Now, I'm glad I get to sit here and talk rubbish, Chaz, while you guys are flicking buttons and switches and what have you. How are we doing?
I'm massively appreciating story time. We're just trying to... we're seeing whether we can still do this with the graphics and do this via SDK. We believe, obviously, we will maybe miss the start of this one. I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to put it on automatic cameras for now. So it will flick around a little bit, unfortunately. But it's just so I can focus on doing this in the background. The sim has its own mode, basically, where it chooses what car to look at. It will stay on TV cameras, but Mark and I are just trying to get this sorted out because I have rechecked my data and it is running very low. So I'm about to start spending a lot of money without knowing it, really. So unfortunately, I'm sorry, everybody, but we're gonna try and keep this as live as possible for as long as possible, and then see if we can get Mark to smoothly take over without killing the stream altogether, because this is done via Restream, which is often done by just clicking a button. It's not like you can just choose a different feed to go into it, so we'll have to see what sort of overlap we get.
Do you have live pictures, Chaz?
Yes.
You do? Okay,
yes.
Good. So the internet for iRacing is working?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Okay.
So the race is underway now then. Looks like we don't have some drivers starting at the front for some reason. Noise down into turn one behind Rowe, but nice and tidy again. Oh, I say that though. And there's a lot of cars around. Oh, Penny, that's Goffin. Oh, that's
if you're Luke Holroyd there, he must be twitching like a rabbit's nose after that one.
He will do indeed.
Cut a cigar.
Oh, Penny's had a nightmare, and that's that, I'm afraid. That's that for him. Cameras won't seem to change. There we go. Right then. I just need to try and get something else sorted now, I'm afraid, Peter, so you might be on your own for a minute here, buddy. Sorry.
Not a problem. Not a problem. Oh, I've got a spinner with Shield Gardner. Oh, dearie me. Well, although he might be sideways, still in the best looking car on the grid with that special livery, the Sunoco colours. But at the front, Mark Rowe leading. Just as I say that, Julien Noisy hitting the front now as well. Andy Marston in the pink pig in third position, but Noisy is off at the chicane, and that has allowed Rowe to go by. Noisy is tumbling down the order now. There he is. Oh, he's in the sandpit trying to get it going, and oh, be careful of me trying to go. Oh, as Andrew Soper's off as well. So a typical reverse grid lap one, unfortunately. Bit of damage on the front of Carl Hazelton's car, also on Jared Coleman's machine as well. But your championship leader, Luke Holroyd, appears to have got through clean, but a lot of close shaves there for the Porsche Sport driver in the number 911 machine. And oh, Mark Elvin in the Michelin car slides across and hit by Brill the Drill once again. Oh, dearie me. Oh, poor old Peter Brill. He's had two cars broadside across on both races, and it really kind of spoiled it. And I think Mark Elvin's got suspension damage. Yes, he does. As soon as he has the power, the car says, no thank you. Wouldn't have happened with a set of Pirellis on, though, from his local Pirelli Performance Centre. Get a discount with your PCGB membership as well. Good start for Amrik Sashdev in 10th position in the 360 Financial Management car. Loses out there to Andrew Shepherd. Great start for João Estevez as well, of course, finishing on the podium in race 1 and really making good progress as well, ahead of Danny Jones in 12th. Your race 1 winner Tom Slater sitting 13th at this moment. They pile down into turn 10A, hard on the brakes, and really strong start for Luke Holroyd. Avoided the incidents well, up to 8th position already, so that is ideal for the championship. To swoop through turn 12, sorry, very, very, very fast through there. And if you just clip the curb on the inside, well, you will be sent for quite an unpleasant crash from that. Up the hill they go, up over the blind turn 3, then down the sort of waterfall section, down the S's to turn 4 and 5. Slightly odd line there for Spencer Ayres, but we carry on to lap 3. Mark Rose still leads, so although put in the barrier in a pretty unceremonious fashion by Julien Noisy in race 1, leads in race 2 with Andy Marston in the Pink Pig, of course, the Midas Simulation Cup winner for season 2 and editor of the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing magazine, leading in 2nd position in the Pink Pig. Unfortunately, the Pink Pig never did race here at Road Atlanta. In fact, the original Pink Pig didn't last very long at all. It was it didn't even finish its one and only race. It was crashed by none other than Reinhold Jost, who went on to a lot of success both in and out of the cockpit. A little bit of a mistake there from Danny Jones, just a little bit hesitant coming out of the chicane. That allows Estevez to just progress a little bit. Slater there in the background too. Luke Holroyd sets the fastest lap of the race, 1:23.854.
Mark Phillips saying, please hold caller. He is doing his best in the background, and I'm very, very appreciative of it. We're going to keep this live as long as we can, everybody. Thank you very much, Peter, for filling in as we get underway for the first few laps. Already a quarter of the way through the race, and the final race this season for these guys in the club class. Rowe is doing a wonderful job at the moment with Andrew Marston in 2nd place, Hazelton 3rd, and then this great battle a few places down just in the outer fringes of the top 10. But look at how quickly... Oh no, we've got a car off! Oh, no, who was that? Mark Elvin. Hello again, everybody. Thank you very much for your patience there. Mucho appreciate. We're back for the final 2 races in the pro class of the Porsche Club GB Sim Racing Championship. Bernie himself, Mark Phillips, has
Hello
been
again, everybody.
Thank you very much for your patience there. Now, Chaz Draycott. We're back. We've managed to sort this out. Final 2 races in the pro class of the Porsche Club GB Sim Racing. Peter MacKay is back with us. Bit of an unorthodox way to end the season, I'm afraid, Peter. But where would I be without internet troubles, eh?
Well, I'm feeling very guilty right now, Chaz, because I have just been sitting on my backside the whole time when you guys have been running around off camera getting it all sorted.
It's all good, mate. It's all good. You provided us with that wonderful story time, so we are very much in your debt for filling in the gaps. Now, pro class, bit of a smaller grid, championship already wrapped up. What do you reckon here? Gloves are off?
Gloves are going to be off. Yeah, I think so. And I think we're going to see a big old battle here between. Now, wait, I do notice we've got Gavin Halls in practice. I don't know if we'll see Gavin Halls take the start. I think he's just come in for a bit of a carry on, I think. But yeah, I think we're going to see a good head-to-head battle between Jacob Toft and Matt Dorrington, and yeah, it could go all the way through the night. Now, what I do want to know is, has Dan Bathy got the espresso martini, Sacred Coffee and espresso martini split livery?
I would love to see it, if I'm honest with you. But we will find out. Now, yeah, Gavin is making a guest appearance tonight, I believe. So we should have him with us for for the entire evening, I think. Because it's a smaller grid, they wanted to get an extra driver in, and Gavin was on hand. So, bless him, he'll be with us. Just enjoying watching Christian Saruta in the Brawn GP liveried machine. Obviously, a replica of the livery that he runs in real life as well. And why wouldn't you? I mean, what a year it was in Formula One for Brawn and Jenson Button and Rubens Barrichello. It was an incredible fairy tale story. And to be fair, I think one of the best liveries in Formula One history. And to be fair, it had to be, because the cars that year were very odd looking, weren't they?
They were. That was when they had that really strange narrow rear wing, I seem to remember. At least they sounded good, though. V8 engines in those days, proper engines that made a Formula One noise. But yeah, to be honest, I love it how it's in ambitious privateer white as well. It was like, that'll do. Get the highlighters out and off we go. I love the story of the Brazilian beer sponsor they had for Interlagos. Like, they obviously didn't get the money's worth, because I can't remember what the brand was called, but they got taken to a Brazilian nightclub that night, and I think it was a rather large evening. Kevin and Perry go large.
proper big night out. Well, hardly surprising though. I'm trying to find a picture of it. Was it Itaipava?
That's the one.
Yeah, because they had Matt Frey as well on the car at that point, MiG, and of course Virgin were the first sponsor. Right now, I remember after they qualified first and second, I remember that I think it was ITV that were broadcasting at the time, maybe even BBC. But it
was BBC, yeah.
Yeah, they interviewed Richard Branson directly after qualifying, and he immediately swore live on air. They were like, "Richard, what do you make of that?" And he just went, "It was beep, brilliant, wasn't it?" Like, he really loved it. But why wouldn't you? You know, he sponsored the team going into it. He knew they had potential after practice and how quick they were. And there you go. And the story went as it was. Right then. We have a few drivers ready to go out already. This is lone qualifying now. And Stephen Kershaw is the first car out there. So we'll go on board with Stephen Kershaw for a moment. Very loud inside these Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars. They're wonderful sounding things. And Stephen Kershaw, you know, he's had an up and down season himself, hasn't he, Peter? He's been in the tough times and the easy times with incidents and battles and all sorts, but he's had a bit of everything, I think we could say, this season.
He has, and he's had us say quite lewd things about his paint scheme that he's got on that car as well. And he has been dubbed the Rocket Man for obvious reasons. And yes, you can see that quite focused part on the back, on the engine cover there on the back of the car. It does look, well, like the aftermath of a particularly spicy curry.
Certain foul comes to mind.
You know, when you have to put Andrex in the fridge.
Yeah. He's certainly flying down the straight like he's trying to drive home because he needs one after a foul, to be fair. Certainly does look like it's moving down there. Let's see exactly how this evening ends up. Now, for any aviation fans out there, if I say misdemeanor, they would know exactly what I'm on about, because there was a wonderful Hawker Hunter painted in a similar livery to this, in a sort of galaxy-esque livery, with a huge planet and a big white and yellow part lighting up the entire front end, and then the rest of it sort of faded like an aura, the atmosphere of the planet, to a white and blue, and then it was all black with twinkling stars all over it. It was a privately owned and privately built and painted Hawker Hunter, bought from the RAF, a beautiful thing, and it used to fly a lot in Dubai as well, and unfortunately I think it's still over there now. I don't think it's in the UK. It's a gorgeous thing, as Stephen's line through there was not so gorgeous, I'm afraid. Got a number of other drivers on similar parts of the lap. Byron Crawford there, absolutely on it. Great looking car as well, the blinds to go machine. Out of the right-hander he goes, foot down. Such a satisfying bit of the track when you get it right, isn't it?
Oh, it is. Yeah, that's one of the proper iconic parts of Road Atlanta, where you're keep trying to keep the car nice and stable and just trailing the brake in places as well. But turn 7, very important to get a good drive out of there, and then hard on the brakes. A really difficult braking zone in a 911 Cup car, because obviously you've got that strange balance of having the engine slung out over the back, but also no ABS either. So if you just get that a little bit too aggressive on the brake, you will be laying down a big 11 on the ground with locked up tyres.
You will indeed. Jacob Tofts has gone fastest. Matt Dorrington's just been off the road and back on, so his lap did not count. So that's big news so far. I'm wondering whether he might have got the incident point as he was crossing the line, which would mean that this lap doesn't count either. But by the look of it, Dorrington on it now. Cummings up to second place, car 2P2, in one of your very, very favourite liveries, Peter. Great looking machine, isn't it? The Hawaiian Tropic car. Now I've got the spec map right this week. It's not a metallic spec map anymore. It looks absolutely stunning.
It looks absolutely superb, that Hawaiian Tropic machine. Raced in period by Big Dick Barber. No, I'm not kidding. That was his name, but he still is a dealer. Still is a Porsche dealer. Is Dick Barber, and yeah, he was renowned as being one of the largest racing drivers ever, but didn't hold him back. He was a fast driver, and you got to be pretty good to have Paul Newman trust you to go racing at Le Mans with.
Indeed, it's a potent combination, I should say. We've got Ben Simpson back out there as well. He's also shaken, not stirred, as you said about Paul Goffin earlier on in the Martini liveried machine. Loctite branding on the front as well. I don't know what it is, but a Loctite logo on a race car just looks amazing. I remember a McLaren used to have it on as well, and the livery always looked absolutely stunning. It's a proper retro logo even now, isn't it?
It really makes the brand stick in your mind.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, wow. It'll never end. Oh, hello. Stephen Kershaw having a little off there. Now, Mark Baxter-Jones in these 11 tenths cars. Oh, they look good. They do look so good. And obviously, he's got his teammate out there, Johnny Elia, or does he?
No, Johnny tonight. No, he's off a track day at it's either Cadwell or Snetterton. I can't remember, but he's off at a track day. So well, just one IROC inspired car. Now the thing is that a lot of people say, well, that was the Donahue car, and that was the Fittipaldi car, and that was this car. But actually, they moved them around. So Donahue drove a couple of different cars, and if you won that car, if you won, you went to the back of the grid, but your car stayed at the front, if you like. So they had 3 races at Riverside and then one finale at Daytona. But do you know that the car that Emerson Fittipaldi finished the IROC series in, the car was then sold. Do you know who ended up with it in the end? Pablo Escobar. Yeah.
That brings us full circle to story time.
Yeah, it does. And do you know how much it's on sale for at this very moment in time? $2.2 million.
Oh, flipping heck. That's quite scary, isn't it? That really
might be a few
scary.
Optional extras in the boot.
Success ballast, they call it. But, it's amazing when you do read up on where cars ended up and where chassis went and so on. I was commentating with a wonderful young man called Adam Weller last weekend. He's a very talented commentator, and for his age, he knows way more than he should about chassis and LMP3 cars and how long they've been in Bahrain for and things like that. He's so clever, and he just soaks up all the information about sports car racing and so on. And we actually got the chance over the weekend to sit and have a chat with not only Patrick Watts, but also Matt Neal in the same garage, which was pretty entertaining, I must say. But Patrick Watts, wonderful, lovely man. Like after racing as him years and years ago on the old Tucker touring car games and doing the cheat mode to get the tank and blowing everybody up with Patrick as my teammate, it was pretty bonkers to then meet him in person. But speaking of that sort of time, I only learned, I think it was yesterday, from Adam, where all of the Super Tour has ended up. Because, as you know, after the death of Super Touring in sort of 99, 2000, obviously they all went missing for a very, very long time, from common knowledge anyway, other than those that raced them. And at least 30 of them, and yes, 30 of them, went to Serbia. Now, there was a confusion about, what are they called? What's it called when, abbreviations. There was a confusion about abbreviations because obviously a lot of them got raced in the Swedish Touring Car Championship, which was STCC. But a number of them also went to STCC, which was Serbian Touring Car Championship. And a lot of the bodies were over there, re-liveried and changed, and so on. And then eventually people started thinking, oh no, these are classics, we need to bring them back and put them period correct again. So a number of them have been over to Serbia, raced there, been to Lithuania, racing in hill climbs, Switzerland, Italy, Belgium and all that. And then now they're starting to reappear in the UK again, where they should be, if you ask me.
It's very cool, and apparently you need a Windows 95 laptop to get them to start, because they were so technically advanced in the day, they needed laptops to get them going, and as you see, Gavin Hall's getting all kinds of leery there, going around the final corner. Now, what we should say, of course, unfortunately we weren't able to bring action of the last race of the club class season. An amazing win from Mark Rose, seeing off Carl Hazelton in a brilliant wheel-to-wheel battle. But Luke Holroyd did what he needed to do, and we can confirm, Chaz, that he is our club class champion. So well done to Luke Holroyd.
Yes, well done indeed, Luke. I'm sorry that we didn't get to see the very last bit of the racing there. But well done indeed, mate. Fantastically deserved championship. Tom Slater pushed him hard at the end, and so did Danny Jones. But great stuff from Luke to win that. As mentioned then, Tom Slater was second, Danny Jones third. Sashdev was fourth. Andrew Shepherd, fifth in the championship by the end. So really, really good stuff. And it was nice and close as well all the way through in that one. We just wait for the session to tick over now. And we should have our grid in just a moment. But Gavin Hall's certainly making his mark there, Peter. He may have been away from the championship for quite a bit, but he's certainly back in fashion with that qualified performance in third.
Oh yeah. Gav has never lost any of his speed, that is for sure. Hopefully he doesn't have any of his usual Gav antics, because I've had two fun, and you can't see this on camera right now, but I'm doing air quotes, fun races where Gavin has put me in the wall twice, out of twice.
Jacob Toft takes pole from Baxter Jones. Gavin Halls with Matt Dorrington on row 2. Christian Saruta is 5th, ahead of James Cummings, with Gary Tall 7th, Austin Greatorex 8th. Then it's Ben Simpson and Dan Bathy, with Byron Crawford and Stuart Clark alongside each other on row 6. Mark Johnson is then ahead of Stephen Kershaw, and Chris Byram, Mr. Akabusi himself, or should I say the Fresh Prince, lines up at the back of the grid. But we've got another wonderfully colourful grid here tonight. I'm a fan of, is it Gary Toll's livery? Looks like he's in the Deutsche Post livery, is it? Am I getting that right?
Yeah, I think it's a Sean Edwards tribute livery from his days in the Super Cup.
Looks very tasty indeed. That's another logo. You know, put that on a yellow car and I just think Jordan.
Yeah, well, at Deutsche Post, if any fans of Homeland will know this, I'll tell you in a minute. Hold that thought.
Here we go then. First race of the night in the pro class in the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship is underway. Don't know why my accent changed halfway through that there, but Gary Tall has a good start. Austin Greatorex gets a good start as well. He's gained 2 spots at the start, moves over to defend from Gary Tall down the inside of James Cummings. Lovely stuff. Dorrington can't get past Gavin Halls at this moment in the Harrods liveried mobile. Got a nice tidy start all the same. Zaruta and Simpson side by side. Dan Bathy getting caught up a little bit there. Interesting to see Dan down in 10th place. Hopefully some progress from him. But a nice tidy start. Jacob Tofts at the front once again.
Yeah, we've said that a few times this season, so we have, and already pulling away. Brilliant qualifying performance from Mark Baxter Jones. I said it once, I will say it again. By far and away the most improved driver in the entire PCGB paddock, and now a bona fide front runner and right there on pace. Got Gavin Halls right behind Matt Dorrington in 4th. So it was a slightly steady start for Matt Dorrington, but he'll be up to pace before we know where we are. But Jacob Toffs absolutely clearing off at the front.
Yeah, fantastic stuff from Tofts already. This is what we've come to expect from him. You know, he's a champion for a reason, but two beautiful yellow machines racing one another for second place at the moment. Gavin Hall's all over the back of Mark Baxter-Jones. Mark has been very, very improved himself. You've got to love the sound of these things screaming their way down to turn 1. Dorrington waiting in the wings as well. He could very easily be a spoiler in the pack for both of these guys here. He's got this pace that he can just turn on, hasn't he, as Matt Dorrington?
He does, yeah. He really is a natural talent. Is Matt? That's for sure. He's just hops into the car. Just got such a natural feel for it. And of course, being owning My DAS Simulations, which sell very, very cool sim racing equipment, hardware, and what have you. He actually has a full motion rig and virtual reality headset as well. So about as immersive as you can really get. Has Matt. I tell you what, it's great to see Gavin Hall's back in the Harrodsmobile, of course, a replica livery of the car that was taken to the podium at Le Mans in 1995 with Derek Bell, Justin Bell, and Andy Wallace. What a trio!
Indeed, Derek Bell is actually the chairman of the Sports 2000 Championship that I commentate on, and I've really been hoping to meet him, because it's strange how it comes full circle, you know, in the motorsport world, because back in 2007 I met Derek Bell without realising it, talking to him as a 15-year-old about all the supercars that were driving past us at Goodwood in the rain at turn 1. And he was stood next to me for about half an hour listening to me drivel on about why the Jaguar's got a 4.5 litre V8 in it and why it's the prettiest car ever, and I named my email address after it. And then eventually my dad walks along and goes, "Oh my God, it's an honour," and all this, and shakes his hand. I was thinking, why is this bloke? And he's like, "What do you mean he's Derek Bell?" But now I commentate on his championship in the real world. Pretty cool. How times go. So I just want to be, you remember that really annoying kid at Goodwood? That was me. Anyway, we've got some brilliant battles going on once again. James Cummings looking at the back of Gary Tall. Not quite able to get through yet. Zaruta waiting in the wings to pick up the pieces as well. That was very close through the right-hander. Nice and close between them all again. And now plenty of slipstreaming going on here, Peter.
Yeah, very classic Road Atlanta back straight there, where and these cars do throw off a fair slipstream, but drivers not actually been able to make as much moves forward in the slipstream as I maybe expect. It sometimes depends if the car in front, if you think they're maybe a bit faster over the lap, sometimes it's better to stick behind them and just kind of use that slipstream kind of as best you can to sort of get towed along, if you like. As Matt Dorrington has a look up the inside of Gavin Hall's as Jacob Tost lays in another fastest lap of the race, and Hall's side check there. Mark Baxter-Jones sends Matt Dorrington into the fence hard, and that, oh dear, that Fury Simsport car is bent all out of shape. Let's get another look at that. So Gavin Hall's has scampered away. Mark Baxter-Jones kind of defends his line. Hard to think of anything other than a racing incident there. Obviously quite dramatic result, Chaz, but just seemed a little bit of a 50-50 in my view.
It's gone off again after this, you know. I think it's
the suspension's knackered. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very broken indeed, I'm afraid. Tiniest of touches though that made that happen. And that's all it takes. And then suddenly game over, I'm afraid. I've realised as well for the stream at this point, just in case you think, how have Chaz and Peter seen that? It seems we've got different cameras to Mark, but Mark's are actually better because they're some of the, I don't know whose cameras they are, but I recognise the pack and they look very good indeed. Anyway, James Cummings still trying to get past Gary Toll. Got Dan Bathy off the road. Still looks pretty though, doesn't it? As Dan Bathy's car as Myron Crawford goes through, and Baxter Jones on his way into the pits, maybe to give himself a drive-through to say, that's on me. It's nice of him.
Well, yeah, that is, I mean, the orange zone rule, if you cause an incident, go for a drive-through. It's a very good rule. The only thing is that those that are too honest go and serve it, and maybe they won't have necessarily had to. I mean, Mark Baxter-Jones had the inside line, and Matt Dorrington was going around the outside, and really there isn't room around the outside, to be honest, at that corner. So it's very noble of Mark, but it's very noble, but maybe not necessarily required.
Very true. Now the gap very spread out here, but of course further up it's still all going on, because Gary Tall has got Cummings and Saruta behind him, and then Byron Crawford has got Dan Bathy still waiting there as well. Then Stephen Kershaw's got Byram and Johnson in there too. A very bright car of Chris Byram, the Cuda E-Motorsports liveried machine. I'd love to know how long that took to paint. It looks absolutely phenomenal. It's a bit bonkers, but it certainly works. Interesting colour combination. You can't miss it. It's very bold. Jacob Tofts does another fastest lap of the race. Will anybody stop this boy? Honestly, it's been incredible, hasn't he?
Imperious. I mean, really imperious as Jacob Tofts. This is the sort of drive that we used to see out of Ryan Parkins a lot. You know, just out front, controlling the race, clicking off those fastest laps. It's interesting, they go about their reverse grid races in a quite different way. Jacob's definitely more of the slight hard charger. He's got just full confidence and just goes straight through, whereas Ryan always used to just sort of just carefully pick his moment through the pack. Hopefully in season 4 we'll see them face off if Ryan's not off rubbing shoulders with Hollywood movie stars in his job as a cameraman. Or a focus puller, as I learned. That's what it's actually called.
Focus puller?
A focus puller, yeah. So that's what you called a pretty girl walking down the street.
I thought it was the sort of guy that just sees someone when they walk in the club and makes sure that that's the pair he's taking home. But
I mean, maybe it does.
Yeah, well, it goes both ways, I suppose. Christian Saruta's hoping he doesn't have to go both ways around James Cummings at the moment, because he's right up behind him now as they come around the final corner. These cars are so exciting to watch through there. The pace they carry is unbelievable for the grip that they usually have. Saruta's down the inside a little bit later on the brakes. Oh, Cummings has gone a bit too hot into there, manages to keep it on the black stuff. Unlike Chris Byram, who, where is that?
Oh dear.
Oh wow, it's properly off. That is at the last corner. I could not
He
figure
got
out
into a fight and his mum got scared.
Yeah, indeed. He's in West Philadelphia now, isn't he? Flipping heck, he's that far away. Oh, flipping heck.
Yeah.
That's not a friendly place to be. He's actually pulled it in as well because of the damage, I imagine. I could genuinely, for a moment there, not figure out where on earth he'd managed to go. Still, Greater X third. Gavin Hall's doing a great job in second. Greater X is actually the biggest mover in the field so far. He's gained 5 positions in this race. Started 8th on the grid. Really strong performance from him. Saruta and Cummings are where they started. Everybody else except Jacob Tofts has moved. So it's all been going on around them, really, Saruta and Cummings.
Tell you what, Gary Tall is on the move. That Sean Edwards tribute livery is really seeming to work, because he actually pulled a good couple of tenths there on Austin Greatorex in on the straight, so getting some slipstream advantage there was Gary Tall. Now, yes, when you think Deutsche Post, for those who are fans of the TV series Homeland, when there's at one point where they use one of the Deutsche Post sort of mail drop things for spy dead drops. And whenever I see Deutsche Post now, I think of those dead drops. Proper Cold War stuff, that.
Oh, I like me a bit of Cold War, but on an aviation side.
Oh, look down, shoot down cameras.
Oh, yeah. Lovely stuff. From the likes of the English Electric Canberra. Big old jets. Used to do a lot of reconnaissance and so on. And then you've got your V4 bombers, your Vulcan, your Victor, and your Valiant. Speaking of the Victor, Aston Martin this week, last week, announced and showed everybody the hypercar that the 80s never had, as they called it, which is the Aston Martin Victor, to go alongside the Aston Martin Vulcan as part of the V-Force, and it is an absolutely outrageously beautiful thing. But it's got a very, very odd gearbox, where it's got a GT3 style wheel, so it's not a full wheel, it looks like just two handles, but it's got a manual shifter, stick shift.
As it should, a proper car. Why would you
yeah.
not have a stick shift? Also, it's also got 1980s bubble pricing as well. So not like £3 million. And they'll have a new one next week. That's the Aston Martin way these days.
Yeah, it'll be called the Valiant.
The Valiant, yeah. The Valiant, the Victor, the Valkyrie. I wonder if anybody's actually got their Valkyrie yet.
Yeah, that's true. Hell of a car that is. But this is a great battle going on at the minute. 4 of them all glued together. Someone's parked a Camaro in a tree in the background from that shot by the look of it. I'm not sure if Mark's going to get the same one there, because like I say, his cameras are different, but they look better than mine do right now. But what a great train we've got with these guys. Greater X is going to have to really... Oh, there's a slide there from Cummings. Greater X is going to have to try and do something very, very hard here to defend from these guys behind. He's certainly under pressure.
It's going to be a tall order to keep Gary behind him, that's for sure. And you can see there Austin going to the defensive line, but you can't go there forever. Gary sweeps to the outside. Austin holds his line. Good, really fair racing there from Austin Greater X. He could have gone and shut the door, and Gary's just got a little bit tangled up there, trying to do a little. Just as he switched over, missed his braking point. Now I have to say, you've got to give Austin Greater X a lot of credit there, Chaz, because the amount of times where people mirror drive and just sort of, he took his defensive line and stuck to it. Very, very admirable indeed.
Yeah, that was really top-notch stuff there. He didn't do anything overly extravagant. He didn't block him off. He just ran his own line. And like you say, he stuck to his guns there, and it was nicely defended. So now he's got Cummings and Saruta going behind him. Gary Toll, unfortunately, a little bit further down now behind Ben Simpson. He's actually got Dan Bathy for company already. And I'm wondering whether he might have cooked his tyres a little bit with that slide there. We know how sensitive the iRacing tyres can be. In a car with no traction control and ABS, that's exactly the last thing you want. But Gavin Halls, he's in a bit of no man's land here. He's 5.9 seconds ahead of the guy behind, and he's 5 seconds behind Jacob Tofts. So maybe not the most entertaining evening by his standards.
But at least he's got no one to crash into there.
That's very true.
Wow. He'll not thank me for that one.
nearly got salt poisoning.
Good battle here then, as obviously Gary Toll dropped back, but Dan Baddy on the charge. And do you see there, Dan actually having to get onto the brakes, because he actually nearly ran into the back of Gary there.
He would have been sending it, you could say.
Would have gone from Gary to Gary!
Very, very quickly there as well. Not caffeine induced either with Dan Bathy. And I've seen you've been enjoying more and more of your sacred coffees. Oh yes, and of course much better for Mother Earth as well. Biodegradable pods, so you just chuck them in the bin and they decompose very quickly. So once you've drank a very tasty coffee, and he has got something to crash into.
He's decomposed his front bumper.
He has indeed. That's not biodegradable. Let's have a look. Is it a bit of curvage?
Yep, turn 5.
Just as it bounces back down to earth.
That's evil, that corner.
Speed is right, and he's still sat there.
So what, in that Petit Le Mans that we were mentioning earlier in 2015 in the rain, the amount of cars that crashed there, and you can imagine when it let go in the rain, like a prototype would just come over, no tyre temperature, and it would just be like snap, snap, bang, straight into the wall, and you're going, it's brutal. I mean, it's so satisfying when you get it right over there. In a GT3 car, you're not quite flat, you're certainly flat on the exit. Couldn't do that in one of these things. Just wouldn't let you away with it.
No, it's just such a savage corner because you're on the throttle. You've got to get a good run out of there as well. It's a very important corner on the circuit because it is quite a long run down to the next right-hander, so you cannot let anything slide, literally. And unfortunately, Gavin has suffered at the hands of no traction control there.
Yeah, it's not. These cars bite. If you get it wrong, they really do bite. I think the new 992 Cup car, of course, well into service now in America and in Europe, and also in the Mobil 1 Super Cup, with Larry Tenvord winning the first round of the season at Monaco. I think they're going to be quite different, quite a bit more rear aero, rear diffuser, etc., and a bit more power, a little bit lighter. So it could be quite a different car, but still, I believe, the same recipe, no traction control or ABS. Although in the American Championship, they are fitted with ABS.
That's kind of a shame in a way.
Well, ask Patrick. Speaking to Patrick Long about it, and he agreed with that because he wants to see the Porsche Cup North America used to breed new American talent, and being able to drive a car without the ABS is very, very, very important. But of course, like any Carrera Cup, you've got about half is young driver development and half is gentleman drivers paying as a hobby. So and of course that type of customer would much prefer ABS. So it's a difficult balance.
Yeah, for sure. And really with GT cars, I mean, on iRacing a long time ago, I was competing a lot in GT3 machinery, and then I moved to GTE, and I just found that having no ABS actually helped the car turn in, because with ABS it just tends to straighten the car a little bit. It feels a little bit numb when you're on the brakes. If you do want to sort of lock up that... Oh no! Gavin Halls and Chris Byron both having an issue. We both come back on. What happened here, boys? Oh, Chris has had his spin. Oh, heck!
Oh, now home to Belair.
That was a big, big moment for the two of them there, and now Gavin Halls, unfortunately, in the pits. But what I was going to say is, if you do want to lock up that inside just to help it turn the car in, you can do that. It's not the nicest thing to have a front lockup, of course, but it just felt like you could do more on the brakes rather than having the ABS kick in and straight line your car. And this is Gary Toll trying to get past Ben Simpson, the 207 down the inside of the 85. They've got Dan Bathy waiting there as well to try and take advantage of anything that goes on around the outside. Nothing doing yet. Nearly contact between the two. Gary Toll has to get out of it. Now Dan Bathy's going to get a good run on the pair of them here. Does Ben Simpson even need to do any defending? I don't think so at this point. Certainly doesn't act on it at this stage. Oh, they're so close together. I think somebody's gone off there,
It was certainly more smoke than a Dr. Dre video anyway, that's for sure.
Yeah, I think someone maybe had just a lock up there by the look of it.
Wouldn't happen with a Pirelli.
Yeah, nobody went off by the look of it. It was all just as is. So, positions stay the same. One more lap after this, and the race leader Jacob Tofts, 14.9 seconds out in front. Yes, a big chunk of that was given to him by the fact that Gavin Halls had his incident when he was 5 seconds back, but at the end of the day, Jacob has still made that gap to everybody else. It's incredible. On to the final lap then. Barney, the flagman, waves the white flag, dusting it off ever as graciously as he always does. And this battle goes on to its final lap as well, Peter. These three locked horns now. Who do you reckon is going to come out on top?
Well, this is not done, and the thing is, we know that Austin is a very, very clever driver. He knows that he's not under threat really from Christian Ciruta or James Cummings for his second place in the championship. And again, of course, Austin missed season 2, but season 1 he was runner-up in the championship there as well. So, he'll be. I know that it's important to him to get this runners-up position, and I mean. Think who you're running up to. Jacob Tofts has just been imperious all season, but to be the best of the rest is quite a boast, that's for sure. So let's see. It certainly looks like Christian Ciruta is very close in the draft range here. So going to be a very thrilling end. And you've got to think that if Christian can get a good run out of turn 7, he'll have a go at turn 10 A and B at the chicane.
So he's not got too much of a slingshot here as Ciruta. Still going to get the run. Is he just going to... No, I thought he was going to push him for a little bit there rather than going alongside. We need to look to the front very quickly because Jacob Tofts takes the win in round 15. Beautiful drive. And it's all gone to pot.
Oh, no.
Oh, boys. Now, you know what I always say, Peter.
Oh, no.
You don't need to move over on straights. But I don't know what's happened here, but that has definitely gone downhill. Ciruta brings... what is left of his car.
Blown the motor.
James Cummings crosses the line in second. Dan Bathy's going to get a podium out of that after starting 10th. Baxter Jones goes through. Ciruta, well, Yeah, he's just going to let that roll across the line, I think.
Oh dear. That's it.
Crawford and Kershaw. Sorry, we'll have to have a look back then quickly before it all disappears. What happened here?
Okay, let's try and dissect this as well. And I actually, do you know what, Chaz? I actually don't know. I wouldn't want to be the one to try, and maybe the chopper will give us a much better view. This is good. There's slow motion.
Looks to me like Austin just tries to make sure that he stays over to the right, but at the same time, Zaruta's sort of running wide, isn't he? Like, see what I mean? Zaruta's sort of running over, maybe to the left a bit, and Austin just turns right a little bit more than maybe he should have. But I wouldn't say directly either of them are at fault for that. It's just two cars closing together, isn't it?
No, yeah, a bit of an unnecessary incident. I think it's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other. I mean, it does turn a little bit here, but the guys know that.
It's very hard to call.
And of course, quarter panel to quarter panel at that speed, the result is going to be dramatic anyway.
Yeah.
Dearie me.
That is a big old hit, that. Very big hit indeed. Thankfully, though, it's
here's James Cummings just getting his... he's got his Hawaiian Tropic fake tan on going, yes, I'm going out to celebrate.
Even with tan lines on, despite the fact that he's put it on like that.
Yeah.
Right then, we'll grab our race results then for that first heat. Jacob Tofts takes a very comprehensive victory. James Cummings, car 2, P2. Brilliant stuff for him. Dan Bathy gets a podium after starting 10th. Mark Baxter-Jones finishes 4th, with Byron Crawford in 5th ahead of Stephen Kershaw. Ben Simpson and Gary Toll. Christian Zaruta crosses the line in 9th with Mark Johnson 10th. Stuart Clark is the last car on the lead lap in 11th. Then we've got Austin Greatorex, Matt Dorrington, Chris Byram and Gavin Halls, who will be at the front of the reverse grid, Peter.
Oh, well. Yeah, that's going to be a thriller. I mean, the thing is, if you get Gavin having a runaway, well, once he gets into his rhythm, he's very, very quick. So, I don't know. I tell you what, I'm still gathering my thoughts after that enormous accident. I mean, that's the fastest place on the circuit, and quarter panel to quarter panel. Oh, well, we saw what the result was.
We did indeed. It's a real shame, though, for the pair of them, because such a great battle up until that point. Oh, Zaruta's driving angry now. He's pushing hard on that throttle pedal, isn't he?
Do you know, I'm sure Austin will brush it off, though. I'm sure it'll be water under the bridge straight away.
Well, I hope so, because I honestly do think that was 6 of one, half a dozen of the other.
Yeah.
But up until that point, looking at the silver lining of that, it was fantastic racing up to that point. It really was exciting. There was stuff going on everywhere, battles all over the place. And again, with a smaller grid than the club class, you would sometimes expect a bit less action, but it's been fantastic. Big shout out to Gilles Gardner as well, by the way, who, put a fantastic livery together, not only for himself, but Mark Phillips as well. And due to my horrendous internet with TalkTalk, Mark unfortunately doesn't get to race that livery tonight, so I do apologise to Gilles for us not being able to see that.
Well,
Mark has said the paint can wait until next season, which, not as a negative thing. Sorry, I don't mean it like that. I sounded very negative there, but it gives us a bit more hype to see this livery in its natural habitat next season. Which, what reason do we even do we need to add to get? Oh heck! What reason do we need to get even more excited, Peter? Because I tell you what, it's certainly going to be amazing to see this championship revitalised once again for a 4th instalment. I'd be well up for that.
Indeed,
Whoa.
Yeah, it's going to be as you see, Stuart Clark having a bit of an off-track excursion. He slap it in the first gear and off you go. I think I have a theory, Chaz, because I wonder what on earth the livery that I almost feel like it's going to be like an outfit that someone has to wear on a stag party that the club have put together for Bernie. A little bit of a get your own back with Dave Benson Phillips. They're going to gunge Bernie. And I think Bernie's maybe used his influence in the higher echelons of Talk Internet and asked for them to sabotage your internet connection, so he doesn't have to. And he goes, "Oh, don't worry, chaps. I'll broadcast.
Oh,
it's fine.
yeah.
Oh no, it's good. I'll sit this one out. It's fine."
What he did was he contacted TalkTalk and he went, "You ever heard of Whereby?" And then he just went, "Oh, watch this. I'm going to smack all the bandwidth through that for TalkTalk." And then there you go.
Well, as you can see, Austin Greatorex in a particularly pragmatic mood. He says, "Why bother?"
Yeah, I'm not sure whether that's regarding the incident, the race, or what, but you can understand the frustration. But it's
and maybe he was talking about Bernie's paint.
or me being with TalkTalk.
Yeah, that must be what he's talking about. Of course.
Yeah.
How did I not think that?
It's like, Chaz with TalkTalk. Oh God, why bother? There we go. Mark Johnson then in the
Oh my
Bombardier
word!
car.
Have you seen a picture of it?
I've not seen a picture of it. No.
Oh my word! I should. Sorry.
Is it in one of the?
I'll send it to you.
I don't know where this picture is.
Hold collar.
Hold caller. I'll try it. Should I describe it to the viewers? I'm asking this.
I think that'll be
before-
entertaining in itself.
It's before I've seen it, so I think I'll get
Just
myself-
well, that's just the front bumper. It's
Gilles
the
sent me
sponsor
a-
on the front.
Gilles has sent it. Oh my God! Wow!
With all the pins. Wigs.com, the wig experts. Oh my goodness.
Gilles.
Oh, he's been stitched there.
Oh.
The picture of Bernie on the phone on the front bonnet.
It's got the brand Zoom on the on the nose of the car. It's a white car. Wigs.com on the rear wing. There's loads of like corkboard pins down the side of it, and then it's got a humongous, horrible picture of Bernie Eccleston filling the entire bonnet of the car, while Bernie's on the phone making the call to say, "Get that Gavin Olds off the racetrack."
Finish him.
Yeah. That's absolutely insane. Gilles, I tip my hat to you, sir, and I honestly do hope that we can see that in the race, putting people off. Now,
Race 1.
Yeah.
Race 1, Season 4.
I'm not sure if you've heard of... oh, well, we'll get to this in a moment. Gavin Halls and Matt Dorrington not taking to the grid there in the pits, so Chris Byram has a fresh view of the front of the field, and the final race in the championship is underway. Look at Greatorex off the line. Absolutely flying forward, gets ahead of Byram very, very quickly. Down the inside he goes. Christian Saruta and Stuart Clark side by side round turn 1 as well. Oh, Bombardier. Mark Johnson's off. Comes back on. And unfortunately loses all of his positions that he gained by being a bit higher up on the reverse grid. But Austin Greatorex leads the way. Chris Byram and Saruta right behind. Stuart Clark 4th. Gary Tall in 5th. Now he's definitely one to watch here, Peter. What I was going to say is a commentator that I first ever listened to on iRacing, Andrew Woodhouse from Apex Racing TV. Not sure if you know of Andrew, but...
I do. Would he? Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's a legend in himself. Oh, Bombardier again.
Oh! Now, I tell you what Andrew would say at that. He'd be like, "Oh, bang." That's his catchphrase. A broken Chaz.
Sorry. Trying to help that together.
Austin Greatorex leads. Why bother?
He would just shout bang. He would. Oh, bang! then that'd be it for about half an hour. I love Woody though. But he raced in a series that I ran, the BSR Kia Club Series, for a long time, and he couldn't decide on a livery. So somebody made this horrendously bold yellow, black and red livery and then filled all the other spaces in with selfies of Andrew from Facebook. And it was just a huge pair of his eyes on the back of the car and on the bonnet, and it was one of the most horrific things I've ever had chase me down on a racing field. Chris Byram has his own moment and goes off the circuit. We've got Stuart Clark and Gary Tall close together. Oh, that was just perfect.
Love it.
Oh, we've got
Bit of the
Gavin Matt.
wobbly.
Oh no! Oh, I must admit I've heard that too many times. Gavin Halls and Matt Dorrington are having a little bit of a fight at the back of the field, I think, just to round out their season, having a good little ding-dong, which is good to see. They've now got Bombardier company in front of them. Now, Jacob Toft side by side with Byron Crawford in the midfield as well. And then behind them you've got Stephen Kershaw and Dan Bathy. So 2 by 2. Hi-ho, hi-ho. It's off to the chicane. There you go. Gary Tall on the right-hand side here is Stuart Clark as they go down the hill. And then you've got Baxter Jones and Ben Simpson side by side. So everybody swapping around. Hello. Nearly contact there by the look of it. Oh, Dan Bathy. Lovely stuff to get past Stephen Kershaw. Can he hold it? Yes, he can. Bob the Builder. Well, Austin Greatorex. Well,
look who's chasing him down.
Yeah. I was going to say, it's almost like unfinished business time with these two, isn't it?
What was that Kaiser Chiefs song? I predict a riot. I predict a riot. And if there's anybody left in here.
Yeah, I was going to say it's just us. Despite being side by side with Matt for an entire lap, Gav still managed to message us on Discord saying that they'd been side by side for a lap. And his whole message said, "Oh, you me and Matt are doing whole laps side by side. Why no stream time? We're both starting from the pit lane. Much messing around will ensue." And they've actually he's actually messaged us that while driving. Unbelievable. But this is going on. Stephen Kershaw and Chris Byram. Into the right hander they go. Now, Cummings and Byron slightly side by side. Simon Povey, good to see the champ. Round 2, fight. and here they go.
A bit more room there. That's yeah, you could say it's very much a distinct amount of room left there. But you got to think that both drivers are going to be driving with a pretty hot head right now. And Chris Byram's off as well. It's not been a good day for Chris Byram.
Been a bit of a scrappy one, unfortunately. Maybe the livery finally putting him off. This is Baxter Jones looking down the inside of Ben Simpson. Just behind him we've got Byron Crawford and Dan Bathy having another fight. These pro boys are great, they have so many scraps. Oh, now Baxter Jones had just desserts from what happened before. Oh, and he's caught Crawford.
Oh my.
Oh, and he looks like he's got away with it as well. He gets to continue. What happened here? So, same incident as before, technically. Now, does Baxter Jones hold the brakes?
He was on the other. Oh, big one. He actually was in the place where Dorrington went off when they made contact. He was on the other side, if you like.
Ben Simpson's just had an off. He's got damage on the front right. Oh, something's broken, I think.
It went very early.
Yeah, it did. Now, we're on board there very momentarily with Stuart Clark because he's got Jacob Toft next to him. Dan Bathy got away with that incident scot-free, by the way. He was so close to being collected. But now Jacob Toft moves up another position. He's gained 11 places in this race. James Cummings and Stephen Kershaw side by side again. And then behind this, Mark Baxter Jones and Chris Byram having another fight. At the front, the gap is only 0.4 of a second. I don't know where to look, Peter.
Yeah, and the gap back, the gap back to Jacob Toft is coming down as well. So, and you can see there Jacob putting in the fastest lap of the race, 1:21.4, and you wonder if he will join this little ding-dong battle here between Greatorex and Saruta.
I'm sure he'd like to. James Cummings still all over the back of Mark Baxter Jones. Ryan Tropic against Rocket Man. Left they go, very difficult piece of the circuit to get right lap after lap, especially in these cars. Flying down towards the double right now at the pointy end of the circuit. Now, Cummings will want a really good slipstream here and a big slingshot, so he doesn't want to start right behind Kershaw. He's got a good bit of distance there. I'm not sure how much overspeed that will give him. Ben Simpson's had another off in the background. That's a really good slingshot for James Cummings. He's going to get it right at the correct moment as well. He's going to be able to duck out quite late on down the straight. Is Kershaw going to be able to do anything? Cummings around the outside into the left-hander. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely beautiful. But now has Kershaw lined up the cutback? He has. Tiny bit of an overlap. Can he do anything into the final corner? Cummings just stays in front. Really committed stuff by James Cummings. Fantastic racing.
Very good indeed there from both drivers. Really close stuff. And yeah, good respect all round. But still, Christian Zeruta leads, and he's not able to get away from Austin Greatorex. Gary Tall not far back either, and Jacob Toff's very much on the move too. So, goodness me, we could have a 4-car fight at the front here before too long. And interestingly, that Zeruta and Greatorex are sort of holding station right now. There's not any trading of places at the moment because I think they maybe both know that what that's going to do is drop them back into the clutches of Tall and Tofts.
It's very true. They need to be careful about it because at the end of the day, you don't want to risk your own race and losing more positions by just getting involved in something you really don't need to. But Zeruta still leads and Greatorex second. That's Gary Tall and Jacob Tofts chasing them down. Now it all depends as well, of course, in what Gary Tall can do to defend against Jacob Tofts, but it's quite difficult to defend over a whole lap round here because of the massive slipstream you get. We've got these two side by side again.
Yeah, you know how we often refer to the last round of the season as the last day of school. Well, these are the two naughty kids at the back of the class causing havoc. I've seen these two nutcases drive it. We had a multi-class race at Watkins Glen Cup circuit. That's the short one used by the NASCAR guys. These guys were Matt and Gavin were in NASCAR Xfinity Series cars, as were a couple of others. I was in a Riley Daytona prototype, as was Gary Tall. Paul Riga was in a Pro Mazda single seater, and what was the other one? Radicals. Carl Sharkey was in a Radical amongst a few others, and it was just unbridled chaos. And every time I came round to lap the NASCARs, Gavin tried to take me off.
Now I must admit, those Xfinity cars and that layout are an absolute joy. Like, they are so much fun to drive. It's one of the only times I've ever driven one of those Xfinity cars because someone told me I have to try it, and it is just absolutely hilarious. But also, how good is the Riley Daytona prototype? Like,
best car on iRacing by a long way.
You can have so much good racing in those things. Like, if my internet holds up to do it, I want to show you a very quick clip later of Mr. Ben Palmer in a Riley Daytona prototype. When I was in CQR, 7 of us took to a number of practice sessions at Watkins Glen in those cars to do some racecraft practice, because you can just rag the absolute nuts off them everywhere and have a lot of fun in them. And of course, with a sequential stick shifter, as they would have been then, they're just amazing.
They are awesome.
Amazing.
I've got mine in Brumos livery as well.
Oh, nice.
As well, Brumos ran it with a. Do you know that Brumos ran one of those at the time with a Cayenne motor, just a Cayenne V8? Yeah, because Brumos, of course, a Porsche dealer, or were at that point. So I really. That's why I can't wait for next week. Everyone hates week 13. I love it because I get to race my Riley. I have to wait 3 blooming months to race my Riley.
Oh, it's a hell of a car. Absolutely.
It's brilliant. The braking feel, the steering, it's just positive enough. Oh, it's just a dream. The drivers at the time hated them.
Oh, yeah. You can have a bit of a slide out of them as well. You know, it's got character, hasn't it? It's a car that's got character. It's not Normand. You know, it doesn't feel like you're lapping in that car because you're just trying to get some tenths out of it. It feels like it's just fit for purpose. It's a fun car. Like, it's as if it wants to be driven, and it says, oh, great, we're going on the track today, let's go. And then it just, you know, you strap yourself in and boot it round. Whoa, Chris Byram doing a bit of that as well. Huge. Big drifteroo.
That snapped. I bet you that was lock stop to lock stop there. That car tried to get away 3 wide into turn 1. This always ends well, especially when Gavin Halls is involved. And, that was miraculous. They get through clean. Probably because the other 2 guys are going, you're a maniac, we'll let you through. Maniac, it's Gavin Halls.
At turn 1.
Well that didn't take long, did it?
No, it did
Maybe.
not. Oh no. It's just like,
From the back of the pack.
Now that's in front. That's all well and good. He's there. He's there. He's there. Yeah. Greatrix says, why bother? Jacob Tops goes through into second place. He's probably, actually, that's quite a tactical decision because he's thinking, right, now I'm going to sit right behind Jacob and he's going to open the door to get past Christian. It's a really tactical decision out of Austin, so fair play.
I don't think he had a great deal of choice in the matter, but yeah, let's say it was a tactical decision.
I feel it was, just so it could help him in this battle, but Saruta doing a great job, considering he was on his Sarufa at the end of that last race. He's doing a great job here of leading this one, and I'm not sure how long he'll stay ahead of Jacob Toft because
his engine was Caputa.
Oh no, speaking of Caputa, we've had damage with Stephen Kershaw. I'm not sure where that's come from because it doesn't say he's gone off or anything, but there's big damage on the front of his car. Rather broken. That didn't take long. Jacob Toss again, just on a drift to go with it as well. I think some of these drivers in this field pray for the day that you can put individual success ballast in other cars on iRacing, because at the moment you can only put it in per car, if that makes sense, per make and model. So you could only put it in all of the Porsches in the race, or you can't choose. Austin missed that, and it's a good thing he did, because I could imagine fire coming out of his ears.
Right now. What is he saying right now?
Yeah, he's either laughing his head off or pointing his fingers. But Christian moved that time. Christian moved over to the left to defend from Jake. How Austin didn't get hit there, I don't have a clue. But I'm afraid on me there. Well, for me, Christian moved.
I think you could be right, yes. I think because Jacob didn't get the best drive out. Look, just as he asked for the power, that just killed his drive. And then Christian got on the power and got the power down earlier, and that gives him the run. So that, of course, and Jacob pulls the inside line there. And Austin's probably thinking, oh, here we go. He's thinking, shall I make a move? Why bother? And then...
he was on the white line and he comes away from it quite a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not too bad a move. Like, at the end of the day, there's a lot of real estate over to the left, but I just don't see what you can gain by doing that at that point in the corner. You know what I mean? You're already into the braking zone. Whether the car moved over on the brakes, these cars do dance around a bit on the brakes, don't they? So, it could have just been that.
Bumpy down there.
Yeah, exactly. There's a number of things that it could have been, but obviously from the external shot, it just looks like he's turned left when he doesn't really need to. He's not going to gain anything by doing so. Because look at Cummings now. He's right over to the the red line. No, he's in the red car. Over to the white line, and then he doesn't come away from it again. But we'll let bygones be bygones now. Baxter Jones tries to go around the outside of him. Greatrix does his personal best on that last lap. These two very pretty cars battling one another. And then they've got the drawing board with Stuart Clark behind him. Now, everybody from 7th down has dropped positions from where they started this race. Everybody from 6th up has gained positions. So
that's quite unusual, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like we've had an entire flip. So Baxter Jones has gained 6 spots. Cummings and Bathy have gained 9. Gary Toll has gained 5. Greatrix has gained 2. And Jacob Tobbs has gained 14. As Chris Byram has gained some damage on his car. Here.
Just catches the curb. To be fair, he was keeping tabs with Gavin and Matt.
And he doesn't gain any damage on his car, didn't hit anything. These two side by side once again. Somehow. Still getting on with it. Great racing from the pair of them though. They must be laughing their heads off in the cars, really enjoying themselves, and this is what it's all about. Let's face it, the championship's wrapped up. They're just going to go out there now for a bit of fun and race one another as hard as they can. Gavin Holes on the grass. Dorrington making sure that he gives him only the minimal amount of room that he needs to fit a Porsche down the inside. And they're side by side down to the chicane again, Peter.
Yep, here they go, and I can see from the Porsche Sport team room that these guys are connected by voice chat. Jacob Toffs has got mute and deafen, so he has got no interest in listening to this. The absolute unquestionable carry on between these guys.
Yeah, Gavin and Luke has muted his microphone, so he's not chatting away. But Matt and Gavin both ready to go. Luke in the chat saying they are laughing. And I can imagine they are. I imagine they're absolutely loving it. Bless them. That's what it's all about. Bit of a slide there for him. Mark says, oh dear, Bombardier. He's staying with them as well, to be fair to him. Great fighting, though. They're just embracing the fun of the series, and it's a pleasant thing to see. Really pleasant. Now, Greater X, while he's in second place, Gary Tall has really closed in on him here, hasn't he? He's not long left of this race to go now, and of course the championship. But this is very close between these pair.
Well, I think Gary would be really pleased to sign off on a second place finish, but he'll have to get through Austin Greater X to do that. And yeah, it does look like he's maybe got a little bit of a grip advantage there. Maybe just kept his tyre in a bit of better condition. Of course, Austin led the race to begin with, and Gary's very close. Is he going to have a look here at turn 1? Nope, this I think's better of it. It's a pretty bold move at turn 1. You've got to make sure, absolutely sure, that you get it done early.
That is very, very true, mate. Very true. So we've got this lap, I imagine, and one more to Jacob Tofts. Although, actually, we're at the 1 minute 20 mark about, what, now? Oh, yes, yeah, so it will be just one more lap after this. Sweating has been mentioned too many times, says Luke. I can imagine, to be fair, I am absolutely roasting here. I'm in an office with 2 PCs in it, loads of lighting and loads of soundproof foam that just absorbs heat and acts as a radiator. I am very warm, not to mention 3 screens around me as well. It's rather toasty here at the moment. I do have the window open, but it's not doing much. So I can imagine those guys are very warm indeed. It's incredibly hot in the UK right now. Gary Tall, though, not enough yet to make the move, but I imagine he's going to save it for the last lap and then just make sure that there's no time for Greater X to come back from this. What do you reckon?
Well, yeah, that looks like it wasn't close enough to make the move there, but let's see if he can. If he's going to make it on the last lap, better to do it on turn 10A and B at the chicane there, just showing his nose just to try and push Greater X into a mistake. But tell you what, you do not see them often from Austin Greater X. Very, very consistent driver, but he's making himself. He's certainly making a nuisance of himself, and that's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, definitely. He's filling his mirrors, he's putting pressure on. And he's doing a good job of it as well. A very good job. Oh, I'm just worried a second. No, never mind. I thought I'd had a disconnection for a second there because the cars blipped away on my screen, but no, they do not. Jacob Tofts leading this field, and the timer has ticked over 20 minutes. 15 laps as well, quite a lot of laps for these guys. Oh, now Gary Tall is having a blink in and out. He's properly gone.
Oh no.
Oh no.
The last lap. He is gone.
Oh man.
Do not believe it.
Why does it do it at times like this? Can you believe that? Can you believe this though? Jacob Tofts wins the championship, wins almost every race this season. What a guy. What a guy. Jacob Tofts, hands together everybody. Austin Greater X makes it a Porsche Sport 1-2. Dan Bathy is going to get a podium. Great way to round out the season for Dan. Well done, mate. And then Baxter Jones is just going to beat Cummings to the line. And then behind them, Matt Dorrington and Gavin Halls. The battle, as Stuart Clark, by the way, did finish 6th. Who's going to win out of these pair here? Around the final corner they go. We're going to see an incident here, aren't we, Peter?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Oh, Gav's lost it. Oh, man.
Brilliant.
Over the line backwards. oh, no.
Bombardier.
Oh, Bombardier.
Oh, God.
Oh. Not so tasty,
Well.
bonsai treat.
Incredible stuff by Jacob Tofts. Really incredible stuff. Absolutely amazing driving. Austin Greater X will be pleased with that. A strong result in the second race. What could have been in
That's
the
why you
first one. Oh, wow. Well, we'll get the results up then for the final race of the season, and then we'll have a quick interview or two and then Mark can stop his PC from melting. Jacob Toft takes the race win, 4.8 seconds back to Austin Greatorex, then Dan Bathy in third. Mark Baxter Jones fourth ahead of James Cummings. Stuart Clark finishes in sixth with Gavin Hall seventh ahead of Matt Dorrington. Great battle from those pair, to be fair. Really good fun to watch. Mark Johnson finishes ninth ahead of Chris Byram. Stephen Kershaw is 11th with Christian Saruta in 12th. Then it's Byron Crawford, Gary Tall and Ben Simpson rounds out your field. But Jacob Toft has been so dominant all season. Really entertaining to watch. And to be honest, it's going to be a shame that it's all over now, really, for until next time. Because it's been a really good season, hasn't it, Peter? There's been so many drivers that we've seen come into this, much like Jacob, that have just been so talented and so quick that the level of competition really has ramped up. But the separate races for Pro and Club, it's really made it entertaining for us because we get the best of both worlds and no incidents with the big spread in pace.
Yeah, I think it's been good also for the drivers to be against similar ability of driver as well. We saw that in the club and actually we saw it more in the club class than the pro. I mean, Jacob Toft really has been the star of the show. But that being said, we did see that with Ryan Parkins in the first two seasons. That's why he's called the King Hippo. Always will be the King Hippo. What was it that Jacob Toft? The King Sloth was it that they call him, or the King Giraffe?
The giraffe.
King Giraffe, right. So
same ring to it.
No, and also I don't think giraffes have a king giraffe. Hippos definitely do.
I was going to say the hippo thing was definitely on the sort of social infrastructure that the hippos have, but we're not
the dynamic. Yeah.
Still entertaining, and of course, I must again say I'm really sorry about the technical issues tonight, everyone, and the internet-related issues that we've not seen for a few seasons now as we get dual burnouts by these pair. But thank you very much for Mark Phillips jumping in. He's been an absolute superstar tonight, and we sorted everything out very quickly in the break. And he has been a true lifesaver this evening. Now I've got to try and figure out how I pay for all of this data that I'm going to have to use this weekend in Italy, which will be a lot of fun. But we do have something awesome to announce as well. So the AMS Porsche prize, basically, there's been a competition going on throughout the season for the drivers that are the safest, i.e. the ones that have the least incident points over their races. And the prize is a drive in Angus Archer's real-world race car, which looks very much like the one he's been racing in the sim. And he was going to give the prize to the winner of that, and Luke Holroyd won that as well as the overall championship. And what Angus has done, because he's an absolute legend, he says he's happy to invite the two second and third place club ranking finalists. Oh, sorry, two of them they're tied for second place. I thought Mark didn't make sense there, but that's my bad. But it's safest and most consistent. So there we go. I've messed it up. Basically, the safety and consistency sort of ratings throughout the season. You get to drive Angus's car if you were safest, and Angus has said he's happy to invite both of them. And that means that there will be Luke, Danny Jones, and Gilles Gardner who will all get a go in Angus's real-world race car at a date to be obviously decided, and a location and so on. They'll organise that with them. But that's a hell of a cool prize, isn't it, Peter?
That was an amazing prize. I'm very jealous indeed, and I'm sure the guys are going to have a lot of fun getting out there in a proper.
We'll bring him back in, shall we? We'll get Mark back in. He just popped out for a second there. Just go and get a brew or something, I think. I'll tell you what, actually, while you're here, Bernie, now I'm not sure how the audio is going to be. How have you found this season, mate? Because obviously as the King Whip Cracker this season, you must be certainly entertained watching all these guys develop and get quicker as time goes on. But as a driver yourself going up against them, it must be great to have a bit of best of both worlds. Let's see if he remembers that he's muted his mic in Discord.
He's very muted right now.
He's very muted. There he is. I forgot about that. Sorry. Yes, I just wondered how you found the season, basically, from a organizer's perspective and, of course, a driver's perspective as well. Like, what have you made of it in terms of both aspects, in terms of how easy it is to manage them all these rabble, and how it is to sort of go up against them as well, while knowing that that's all in the back of your head. I'm going to have to interrupt you. Sorry, Mark. I'm going to have to interrupt you, mate, because apparently they can't hear you. Oh, heck. Yeah. That'll be it. Can you all hear him now, everybody? Go on.
Hey, how's that? Can everybody hear me now? It would really help. I tell you what, this being a race director, Chaz, is quite hard work. I don't know how you do it all.
I'm glad that it's helped you appreciate our jobs. Not that you didn't already, mate. Not that you didn't. The whole dynamic of how us lot work together has always been a lot of fun.
I completely did. But yes, the short answer to your question, it's been a lot of hard work. You know how much hard work it is organising leagues as well, but it's been a tremendous amount of fun, and it's been really good fun watching it grow into where it's at today.
Indeed, and it's been great for us as well as broadcasters. Now we'll very quickly drag in our club class champion, Luke Holroyd, who joins us now. Luke, you must be over the moon tonight. You knew that it wasn't going to be the hardest of jobs to do. You just need to keep your head down, score some decent points. But how was that final race meeting for you? Any nerves?
Yeah, plenty of nerves, mate. Plenty of nerves. I don't know if it's I don't know if that's worse. It was crazy. I mean, I messed up qualifying. I think I say that every round. My qualifying pace is just. I think I did a 1:22.1 in practice, and then I cannot replicate it at all in qualifying. But I was kind of happy actually. Like I wasn't in the pack, like the front five pack, with all the pressure and the aero wash. Was terrible at Road Atlanta, as it always is in the Cup. So I was kind of happy where I was, and I knew that I could just maybe. As long as I kept Danny Jones in check and just a few places above me, I'd do all right. And obviously be ahead of him in the reverse grid. But yeah, mate, the nerves was was through all day, to be honest. And I know it's only sim racing, and some people think it's just a game, but I think most of the drivers in Club and Pro can agree when you sat on the grid, the nerves are just insane. But I did enjoy it in the end.
Well, I'm glad you've enjoyed yourself, mate, because we've certainly enjoyed broadcasting and commentating on it, and it's been great to have the two classes divided, because While it was amazing to have both of the fields combined into one and have a huge grid, there was always that issue of there was a bigger spread in talent across the field, so there were more incidents. Do you feel that incident-wise, it's got better this season with the smaller grids split into two?
I think so, yeah. And the gap in driver standards is less obviously when you're in the one group of club. And I think you look at where we were the first round and how the whole club class has progressed, myself included. I think Tom Slater's a brilliant example as well. I'm sure he'll be happy with saying I think at Stetson he didn't have much of a pace, but then he's outpaced me and Danny Jones pretty much the last half of the season, if not more. And a lot of the guys have been like that, which I think you don't get many sim racing leagues like that where you have like that virtual paddock. I can't speak for Pro much other than there's a few Porsche Sport drivers that drive in it, but speaking just from the club level, I think fantastic work by all of the guys. I've really enjoyed it, and I think the majority of the guys in club have as well.
Well, that's always good to hear, mate, because while the racing does get frantic and a bit sort of serious, because let's face it, like you say, people think this is just a game, but when you realise how serious it is and you get behind the wheel on iRacing and how accurate it can be and just the racing itself, there's no other way to describe it, because people always say, why is iRacing the best sim there, or why do you think iRacing is the best sim there? And for some reason in just how it is, maybe it's just the way that the cars behave and how they all look when they're racing together on track, and you see the body language of all the cars. It's just the racing. The racing is just better, and it's very realistic racing at that when you look at it and how everybody moves around and so on. And it feels like that from behind the wheel, doesn't it? Because when you're in the car, you very quickly forget it's a game with the immersion that you get, don't you?
Straight away, mate. Straight away, as soon as you're in, especially with a cup car, it takes all your concentration. The minute a lack of concentration comes in, you spun off or you've missed your braking point, and it's quite hard to catch. So I can't compare it to the real thing. I can only compare it to pro karting, really. But you don't have the feel of the car underneath you, but everything else is realistic. As I said at the start, the pressure's insane. Yeah, it feels like you're driving a real car, and obviously when you do hit the grass a little bit or you start going wide, you think, please don't put it into the wall.
You still got that fear, don't you?
Yeah, massively so. And yeah, I think you get in a league like this as well. Yeah, it's kind of everyone's there having a good time, but there's still a lot of there's a lot of competition throughout the field, and I don't think you get that with many other leagues in terms of this high competition, but there's still a really good community behind it. But that's credit to the guys that are running it behind the scenes, that are doing it voluntary. I'm going to miss someone out, but likes of Mark Phillips, Gavin Halls, Carl Sharkey, I think it was the likes of Andrew Soper, Paul Stout, who came on board this season as well, just to help with some of the workload, and obviously Porsche Club GB themselves for supporting it, promoting it to their readers is really big. So yeah, it's been a great season.
It really has. It's been absolutely phenomenal, mate. And of course, well done from us here on your title. Plans to defend it into season 4?
Yeah, I don't know what they're going to do. I think there's more people that want to join the league. I don't know how they're going to do it. If there's going to be a promotion, relegation, God knows. I don't know, but it'll be competitive wherever we end up. You looked at how the pro were that season, but again, for the club guys, I think quite a few of us at the front would arguably be challenging somewhere in the mid pack of the pros as well. So everyone's progressed really well.
I look forward
and
to
you
it,
guys as well. Obviously, done a great job on the stream. So thanks to you and Peter.
Thank you very much, mate. Except tonight, of course, where I went to pot, but
we'll let you off.
Well, great to speak to you, Luke. Well done again, mate. Any more final thanks just before you go?
Just to the Porsche Sport guys, obviously congratulations to Jacob, who took the championship. Austin, I think, got second place tonight, so that's brilliant. Following on from Ryan Parkin's success for the last 2 seasons, and the rest of the guys in Porsche Sport, not everyone's driven this season, but we all help each other out in practice. So big thanks to them and the sponsors.
Smashing stuff. Well, great to speak to you, Luke. Very well done, mate. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again very, very soon.
See you soon, guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Well, there we go. That is the only interview we're going to get tonight by the look of it, to be fair, Peter. But what an absolute whirlwind of a championship. You know, it's been a hell of a lot of fun again, and the guys have all been so amazing behind the scenes in working with us at Simracersworld TV. It's just, the whole package has just been very, very entertaining and very positive, hasn't it?
It has indeed, yeah. It's been a pleasure to be involved and to see how far the Porsche Club of Great Britain Sim Racing Championship has come in just 12 months is extraordinary, and that momentum continues. And yeah, looking forward to season 4 when it comes. I'm sure the guys will be glad of a wee break, especially with this nice weather we're having and with racetracks opening up and things like that. So yeah, I think when we get into a later part of the year, it'll be great to have the boys back again for yet another tight season. And well, will anyone be able to stop Jacob Toffs? That's going to be the big question, I think.
It is indeed. And again, mate, you know, it's been a hell of a lot of fun commentating with you again. We always have a great laugh here, and we hope everybody enjoys the puns and all of the jokes, and of course Peter's wonderful story time as well. The fountain of knowledge that Peter is never ending, and I sincerely hope you have a great weekend as well with the Nürburgring 24 hours, mate. I'm sure I'll end up listening at some point, and hopefully we'll hear all about it when you sort of return from Cloud9, as I'm sure you will on Monday potentially. But again, thank you everybody for watching. Thank you all the guys in the background for everything that they do. Also to our AMS prize winners as well. We do have prize winners for that from Pro. Jacob Tofts and Mark Baxter-Jones also winning that prize as well to have a go in Amrique's... Not Amrique's, wrong car. If you want to go with Amrique's car, you can have one. There you go. But it's from Angus's car. You can have a go in the real world. Obviously, you can organise that amongst yourselves behind the scenes. I ain't no middleman. But thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you, everyone involved in the championship. It's been a real joy this season, and we look forward to seeing another another instalment again very soon. I'm going to go and put my teeth back in and have a drink. I'm boiling to death. Thanks to Mark Phillips for jumping on the stream. We'll see you again very soon, guys.